You know what time it is. It's Al Sharpton's time. And for the next 3 hours, it's time to put aside all pretenses, deception, denial, or fronting. The time to keep it real on Keeping It Real. Good afternoon to you all across the country. Good morning to our West Coast listeners. Welcome to those listening on Sirius XM, Channel 126, The Urban View, where talk empowers and becomes action. You can participate in the conversation. 1-877-532-5797, or you can go to our live stream page, live stream at nationalactionnetwork.net, nationalactionnetwork.net, and go to live stream and send me a written message on the message board. Like Mayor Rodney Jones just did. Good afternoon, my shepherd, Mayor Rodney Jones in Queensbridge houses, and Barbara Jean sending in Wednesday afternoon greetings from Chicago. Greetings back to you. And Charles Vincent says, good afternoon, Reverend Al, and to everyone else. And James Thomas says, the government shutdown has now started. And let me start there. Midnight last night, government shutdown went into effect. Hasn't had a government shutdown since 2018 when Trump was president before. Now, there's no deal in sight. Shutdown after midnight came after the Senate rejected both the GOP and Democratic funding bills. Republicans control the Congress, but lack 60 Senate votes needed, and there's no clear path to the resolution of this. Who's affected by this? 750,000 federal employees are furloughed daily. Quote, essential workers like TSA, air traffic control, law enforcement, military, must work without pay. Congress and the president still receive their salaries. Back pay is guaranteed once government reopens. National parks are partially open. Medicaid, Social Security continue. New applications may face delays. Now that's who's impacted by this. The impasse is over health care. Democrats said you must replace what you're taking out of health care, Medicaid, for us to agree to this. And during the time, Trump is doing deep fakes, cartoons and pictures, AI generated on Jeffries, having him with a sombrero on his head and mustache like he's a Mexican. It is amazing how even at this stage, the government is shut down over the Affordable Care Act. That's really where the new health care came that they're trying to cut. They are trying to cut what is known as Obamacare because the standoff centers around the Democrats demanding to extend ACA subsidies and reverse the $1 trillion Medicaid cuts of Trump's one big, beautiful bill. Now, black folks, I want y'all to hear this now. Black folks are disproportionately hit in this, with 1 in 5 federal workers black. A shutdown means more furloughs, unpaid work, and top of rising black unemployment. Black unemployment is 7.5%, and 300,000 plus black women already losing jobs among Trump's federal purges. Lawmakers are saying that this is devastating. So let's talk about the shutdown, what it means. We cannot shut up because there's a shutdown. In fact, we need to be more vocal. Another issue is Trump's U.S. cities policy. He says U.S. cities ought to be training ground, military training ground. I mean, it's unbelievable because who you at war with? Your own citizens. So it is clear that President Trump has a different view of how this country is supposed to be run. He sees political opponents as enemies of the state, deserving whatever they get. He sees everything about how it makes his popularity or lack of stand. And he is very, very open about it. Yesterday when he had this meeting, he and Secretary of Defense, Secretary of War now they call it, had this meeting of hundreds of your top military leaders, had to leave as far away as Taiwan to come and sit up 2 hours with the president and his Secretary of State / War, Mr. Hickson. And one of the generals said, without giving up who he said it to, that it's like the pressure under your head, your White Castle head. And I didn't understand what he was talking about till I got older and started understanding that if I ate right before I spoke, it did lay on my on my stomach and laid in the way of my delivery. But there's a lot we just get distracted from. And that's why we want to do this show every day and in every way. So I'm welcome your calls at 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797. One of the things that I think that we are missing is that I hear a lot of people say we need to be fighting. I think we need a fight plan and those that are going to play what roles in what part of the fight. It's like, it's not boxing where one person against one person and the best one wins. It's more like football or basketball. It's going to be team. Some's going to have to be a guard, some's going to be front end, some's going to be the one take the three score shot from the line. And we got to all do what we do. I often tell young activists today, you did not invent young activism. There was in the 50s those young students that did not agree with Dr. King. And Dr. King was a young man in his 30s. And they had their own organization called the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, SNCC. That's where John Lewis was the president. John Lewis never worked for Dr. King, never was on SCLC's payroll. He formed SNCC. And SNCC believed in a decentralized kind of leadership. There was one activist at that time, Ella Baker, that used to preach, we don't need this one central leader model. We need group model. That was in the late 50s and 60s. So when people start saying it in 2010, 15, 2025, that is an old argument. Now, you can be on either side of the argument, but don't act like you come up with something new. Oh, back in the day. No, back in the day, they had also a non-central figure movements, and you had the central figure movements. My position is, obviously, I come out of the black church and out of Operation Breadbasket, so I certainly have grown up and believe in the leadership model. But I respect those that don't. The question for me is, whatever model you believe in, are we succeeding and get something done? You can't say my model is better than the other guy's model if the other guy's model is getting something done. And all you have in your model is your ability to pontificate and articulate and be erudite about our history and not about our present. Let's get ready to take a break. I'm going to open up the phones. I want to talk about all this. In light of all this, let me tell you something. We're not going to beat Donald Trump with a slogan. It's going to have to be a multi-tier movement. Some in the voting, some in the economic development empowerment, some in the activism in the street, some in communications. It's going to take all of that. Why you know that, Sharpton? Because it took all of that for him to get there. He did it on the right. We've yet to do that on the left. Let's take a break. Be right back, opening up the phones. 1-877-532-5797. Sharpton, keeping it real. Be right back.
So it's become almost an unhealthy habit how much I'm listening to Keep It Real, because it is the realest thing on the air anywhere, whether it be online or whether it be on the radio or wherever it's coming into you from, because there's no one of Rev's importance and caliber who is as dominant a media figure as he is, who allows people to speak at length, and who he treats with equal respect and admiration with every call, whether he agrees with you or not. And I'm not gonna throw shade at anybody, but there are a lot of people with big platforms like the Rev has who are afraid to talk to the people and who are afraid that the people will keep it real with them. And he never shies away from anything any of us want to talk to him about. And he doesn't shut you up. It's not a soundbite, it's a conversation. So I would like people in media to learn from this man who is carrying MLK's torch. Don't be afraid of people. Listen to them, respect them.
All over the world today, people are gathered in love vigils to celebrate the life of a man that taught the world how to love. People may be wondering why there's such an emotional outburst, but you would have to understand the journey of Michael to understand what he meant to all of us. For these that sit here as the Jackson family, a mother and father with 9 children that rose from a working class family in Gary, Indiana. They had nothing but a dream. No one believed in those days that these kind of dreams could come true. But they kept on believing, and Michael never let the world turn him around from his dreams. I first met Michael around 1970, Black Expo, Chicago, Illinois, Reverend Jesse Jackson, who stood by this family till now. And from that day as a cute kid to this moment, he never gave up dreaming. It was that dream that changed culture all over the world. When Michael started, it was a different world. But because Michael kept going, because he didn't accept limitations, because he refused to let people decide his boundaries, he opened up the whole world. In the music world, he put on one glove, pulled his pants up, and broke down the color curtain where now our videos are shown and magazines put us on the cover. It was Michael Jackson that brought blacks and whites and Asians and Latinos together. It was Michael Jackson that made us sing "We Are the World" and feed the hungry long before Live Aid. Because Michael Jackson kept going, he created a comfort level where people that felt they were separate became interconnected with his music. And it was that comfort level that kids from Japan and Ghana and France and Iowa and Pennsylvania got comfortable enough with each other to later it wasn't strange to us to watch Oprah on television. It wasn't strange to watch Tiger Woods golf. Those young kids grew up from being teenage, comfortable fans of Michael to being 40 years old and being comfortable to vote for a person of color to be the president of the United States of America. Michael did that. Michael made us love each other. Michael taught us to stand with each other. There are those that like to dig around mess, but millions around the world, we're going to uphold his message. It's not about mess, it's about his love message. As you climb up steep mountains, sometimes you scar your knee. Sometimes you break your skin, but don't focus on the scars. Focus on the journey. Michael rose to the top. He outsang his cynics. He outdanced his doubters. He outperformed the pessimists. Every time he got knocked down, he got back up. Every time you counted him out, he came back in. Michael never stopped. Michael never stopped. Michael never stopped. I want to say to Mrs. Jackson and Joe Jackson, his sisters and brothers, we thank you for giving us someone that taught us love, someone that taught us hope. We want to thank you because we know it was your dream too. And we know that your heart is broken. I know you have some comfort from the letter from the President of the United States and Nelson Mandela, but this was your child. This was your brother. This was your cousin. Nothing will fill your heart's loss. But I hope the love that people are showing will make you know he didn't live in vain. And I want his 3 children to know, wasn't nothing strange about your daddy. It was strange what your daddy had to deal with. But he dealt with it. He dealt with it anyway. He dealt with it for us. So some came today, Mrs. Jackson, to say goodbye to Michael. I came to say thank you. Thank you because you never stopped. Thank you because you never gave up. Thank you because you never gave out. Thank you because you tore down our divisions. Thank you because you eradicated barriers. Thank you because you gave us hope. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Michael. to hold you up.
No, not at all. I really appreciate your time.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Yes.
There is a, I don't know if you will remember this, but you came to Parliament in London with Lord Woolley, Simon Woolley.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you had a round table.
Oh yeah. You were in that?
I was, because before I became deputy mayor, I used to be a councilman. I was a city councilman, but I also helped found the biggest voter registration organisation in the whole of Europe.
Really?
Yeah. So last year we registered and we worked together with Simon 488,000 young people in just 6 weeks. So
wow.
But I learned a lot from you.
So did they turn out?
They did. Yeah, they turned out. But my worry is given like the state of politics in the UK right now, is their expectation of what a government could deliver is up here. The reality is somewhere here, and the performance is somewhere here.
Yeah.
And now it's like the next election, I guess similar to what you experienced between 2020 and 24. The next.
You live, sir.
Keeping it real. I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797. A lot is going on. That's why you need to be stay tuned to the few shows that still can get on the airways, both on television and radio. With this move now by the Trump administration to say that we ought to put military in the cities and that we can use them as training ground for wars abroad, meaning that he is actually declaring some wars on American citizens. That's unprecedented. Then when you see that they do not want to in any way alter taking away millions of jobs and Medicaid with this big, beautiful bill. And they're willing to let the government shut down, which it is shut down right now because of it. These are very serious times. It's not getting bad, it's bad. You're talking about millions of people not being able to maintain their Medicaid, increase premiums on their medical care. We're not getting there, we're there. The question is how we get out of this. And that's what I want to talk about today. 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797, twitter.com, The Rev Al, twitter.com, The Rev Al. Let us also encourage you to go to the live stream at www.nationalactionnetwork.net and go to live stream and put something on the board. Let me say by way of announcements, don't forget to watch Politics Nation with Al Sharpton live at 5 p.m. Eastern Time every Saturday and Sunday. You do not want to miss it, particularly while we have all this turmoil. A lot happened this weekend. It's just Wednesday. We've got a shutdown. We've got Donald Trump and Hegseth bringing in all of the generals and commanders in the military from all over the world to have a 2-hour pep rally. We have the president sending armed military into Chicago and Memphis. We have the mayor's race in New York where the incumbent mayor, black mayor, first time we had a black mayor in 32 years, pulls out the race. I got a lot to deal with on Politics Nation this weekend, but deal with it, I will. And you should be right there because I'm going to give it to you straight with no chaser, as they say. So make sure you watch that. Then, of course, Saturday is the Saturday Action Rally for you in the tri-state area, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at the House of Justice. And this Saturday, among dealing with all these issues, is my birthday weekend. My actual birthday is Friday. And so be at this Saturday Action Rally. 145th Street and Lenox Avenue, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at the House of Justice in Harlem. And then Monday night, that's the big night, Triumph Awards. I'm getting calls from a lot of people that are coming in. Some of our chapters, I believe 50-some of our chapter leaders from around the country is coming in, and it's free. We're honoring that night the one and only Kenneth Babyface Edmonds. Babyface will be there to get his plaque and honors. Stephanie Mills, the outstanding, iconic songstress. Ari Melba, many of you see his show on MSNBC, The Beat. He has did this magnificent blend of hip-hop and politics. We're giving him an award. We also saluting Chesley Maddox Dorsey, who's kept urban radio alive, black thought in black hands, and gospel giant Vincent Bohannon. Those 5 will be awarded, and many of our officials coming. It will also celebrate my birthday. I know some of the candidates for mayor be there, governor and others. So it's always a great night. We are probably at maximum in terms of you getting a ticket, but we now have waiting lists for you to get on. So if somebody falls out, we can put you in. But we're in the big room at Lincoln Center, and it's free. But you have to get your ticket in advance. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net, www.nationalactionnetwork.net, or call the toll-free number 1-877-626-4651, 1-877-626-4651. As I was watching the military rally, I couldn't help but think of North Korea or Russia somewhere. And you've got to ask the question, why is he doing this? This is a massive ego trip, narcissism, but it's also sending the message that we are in a different state of affairs now. I'm in charge. I'll send the military at you. I'll grab people out the street and let them be guilty until proven innocent, that they're here illegal, including American citizens. So this is about as serious as it can get. And a lot of us cop out. I see you, Angela Conley. Angela Conley saying, "Hey, Reverend Al, we are celebrating 45 years of marriage Sunday." I had to stop on that one. 45 years of marriage, congratulations. And I'm celebrating my birthday all weekend, and I'm going to celebrate your marriage. But a lot of us cop out with these conspiracy theories, these all kind of, I'll say it, in my opinion, just ways of avoiding dealing with the issue. So you come up with all kind of theories and philosophies and this, that, and the other. Anything but how we gonna deal with this. Anything but what are the steps we take to stop this. We had March 3 weeks ago. Thousands came out from all over the country. Now we buying shares. Sharings all over the country. Yeah, we have to fight back. We have Supreme in the Defense Fund, fighting to preserve our right to vote, and we're dealing with the National Action Network of police abuse, of racial profiling, and like I said, DEI. Everybody got a front. You got a philosophy. Philosophy does not mean that we should not be active. If all you got is a philosophy, then you are not serving what you ought to serve. We need brilliant thinkers. But thought without action is empty, and you just playing with people. Well, let me tell you, let me give you my analysis. Okay, I want to hear your analysis, but after you give it to me, now what are you going to do? And I think that it is extremely, extremely important. James Thomas is saying Trump was even telling the generals that if you don't clap for me when I'm talking, I'll destroy your career. It was just crazy talk. James Thomas, it was crazier than that. But it happened. And this man is the president of the United States with power. Talking to the military heads with power. We're in a very, very precarious position. And we better be well informed and organized to go after it. Let's take a break. Coming right back to you on the phones now. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. Twitter.com, The Rev Al, or go to live stream. Send me a message. Like O.G. Kelly says, those military generals should band together and escort his butt out of the White House. OG wasn't pulling no punches on that one. Let's take a break. Be right back. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back.
Joining James Brown, Muhammad Ali, and myself now from New York City is the Reverend Al Sharpton. And Mr. Brown, James, I'd like to ask you about this young man, how you came to meet him, and what the National Youth Movement, which he represents, is all about. Tell me something about that.
It's about teaching young kids the right way to go, and the things to be involved in education. Don't be a dropout, which is one thing I'm very much behind. Unless kids have guidance, they'll have no place to go. And the idea is to try to mold them. I mean, we think of anything, we think of it as a baby. And what we molded them to be is what it will be later on. He used to stand at my back door, and he believed in what I said, the Don't Be a Dropout program, and the fact of helping kids and giving the right idol and the right image to go with, cleaning, grooming, and wanting to work, wanting to be something. I started as a kid, a juvenile delinquent, and everything. Had no model. And I was able to be a model for a young man like this. And what he turned out to be is a minister, and he preaches the right thing, and I'm for him 1,000%. I'm for everything he's about.
Mr. Sharpton, how national right now is the National Youth Movement? Is it something new? Has it been going on for a while? Do you have a stated number of members? Tell me something about it.
Well, we don't really get into a numbers game because that's been a trick that has been played for the last 20 years. What we're basically interested in doing is saying to young people of impoverished backgrounds that there are people like a Muhammad Ali and a James Brown that represents hope to us. Because these people, despite all of the social odds, despite the unemployment statistics, despite the lack of education in their day, were able to grow and be something that we can be proud of. A man like me didn't have a father at home, but I had a James Brown to look up to and would want to sing and dance like him, or Muhammad Ali, who I saw stand up and give away millions of dollars of stamps to the government so that I would have a right to come 10 or 20 years later and try to fight for my kids. So what we're saying is there are symbols and images that kids can look up to and not have to throw a brick through a window, but that can work by the sweat of their brow and succeed just like these two gentlemen did.
But considering the numbers of young kids today, and Rev, there are hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands of kids who really are in hopeless and desperate situations, is it enough to just offer them an example?
You say hopeless, though. Not hopeless.
Well, let's say,
well, to them,
to them 10, 11, 12-year-old kids,
it's never hopeless. There's no such thing as hopeless. It's never hopeless. When I got 8 to 16 years for breaking and entering as a kid, because I was hungry, and here I am today, it's not hopeless. Don't say hopeless. Then we say we're carving out. I don't believe in hopeless. Don't you think it's hope? If you believe in something, try it. No such hopeless. I don't believe in hopeless. We're not going to go with that. And I think he's not about teaching them how to get out and fight for themselves. That's what it's about. No, it's not hopeless. Everybody has a cause and everything, but everybody want to live. And I think living is what we're about. We're not going to teach dying. Hopeless is dying.
I agree with you 100%, James. But what I'm trying to ask here is simply saying you too can be a James Brown or a Muhammad Ali. Is that enough to give a kid who's hungry, who doesn't know where his next meal is coming?
I'll say it.
Give them somewhere to go.
I think it's awful weak to tell a kid you can be a James Brown, one of the greatest entertainers in the world, and me, one of the greatest fighters. And like you said, the hundreds of thousands of millions of kids that need a break. You can't have that many great people. but they can get educated. They can go to school. They can learn. I'd like to say one thing. We have crime today. It's a big problem. I think they took a national vote on what the people want the government to spend most of the money on, and crime was over national defense. Worrying about Russia, China, outside enemies, they're worrying about inside crime. We have crime today, all type, prostitution, murder, exploitation, degradation, and wars of all kinds. And I'm gonna tell you why everything's happening. And I think if you're intelligent, you agree with it. If we ride in an airplane and the two pilots die for some reason, is there anybody in this room that can go in the cockpit, pick up the radio, start working it, bring the plane in, depressurize it as it land, and make it, and late at night on a stormy day? You couldn't do it.
Right.
Well, but if you learn how to fly, or if they show you how to fly, you can. Since God made the world and God made us, He sent the Bible, the Torah, the Quran, sent Moses, Jesus, Noah, to show us how to run the world. And God left His laws. If we don't follow His laws, then we crash.
Let me say this, though, Mr. Snyder, in response to your question to Mr. Brown, Mr. Ali. Yes, it is enough to begin with showing them an example, because before you get to education, you need motivation. If you don't have motivation to get out of the bed, you won't make school or the party. And what we try to do by showing a James Brown or Muhammad Ali is not that you can be a great champion maybe like Ali or a great entertainer like James Brown, but if you use the same initiative that they did to make him get up 5 in the morning and run 10 miles and just have a dream and to come back 3 times and accomplish that dream, to have more hits than anybody in the world, even when the music world wouldn't give him credit for it in terms of a James Brown. If you had that initiative to keep working at whatever it is that you're going to do, you can succeed. And what we're saying to them is you may not reach the plateau of public prominence of them, but if you can reach the personal discipline and personal motivation of them, you can reach a plateau in your life. Because it's not about looking for a government handout, it's about looking for a way out, as James Brown said.
All right, and then how receptive are the young people that you tell this to?
Very receptive.
Really?
Very receptive. Very receptive. I think that people have misunderstood that most people of impoverished and depressed areas are not looking for the government to give them something. They just want a chance. I remember when I was a little boy, James Brown used to sing, I don't want nobody to give me nothing, just open the door, I'll get it myself. Well, that's all people want now is a chance. Let me get a piece of the action. Let me get a piece of the pie. Let me stand up on my own.
All right, at one
Man
point,
should have the major corporations, the government, should get behind him and push the programs that he's about.
except maybe if he does it himself and gets grassroots support, it's better than having the government stick their nose in, because they have a way
We're
sometimes.
not talking
of-
about control.
Yeah.
We're not
Funding.
talking about control. We're talking about a way of start. You know, they have to start. If they fund crisis and fund all these different other things, they can fund a small man to get started. Then the private sector will join in, but let them help too. It should be.
Last thing. Somewhere along the line here tonight, we used a graphic saying long, hot summer. Are you in any way, I'm certain you're not predicting a long, hot summer. You're not predicting urban strife. You're not predicting disorder, anything like that.
Well, what I'm saying is, you know, at home you have an oven. There are flames on top of the oven, and then there's heat in the oven. We always discuss whether there'll be a flame on the top, and don't discuss it. There's already 600 degrees inside. I'm not concerned as much about a long, hot summer because it's been a long, hot winter. People are unemployed.
Okay.
People are unemployed. People are getting their homes ripped off. Parents' pocketbooks being snatched. As Ali said, crime is at a highest rate it's ever been. So rather than us running around the streets looking for a brick, we should be looking at the fact the brick is already.
Keeping it real, keeping it real. I'm your host.
You live, sir, you live.
Keeping it real, keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton. 1-877-532-5797. Let's start in Washington, D.C. with Ira. Ira, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Hey, good evening, Reverend Sharpton. Thanks for taking my call from Washington, D.C. They call me the Watergate Kid. No nonsense. They got something going on here, which I tell folks. These people are throwing jabs at us as Americans. What you need to do is throw punches and bunches, and that'll stop all that nonsense. But I called in because they shut down the government in D.C. just a while ago, as we speak. They shut it down, you know that. And this is uncalled for. I know white people, black people, anybody has not voted for this craziness. So now that should wake them up. If they don't, it's on them. We can't save the whole world, Reverend Charles. All we can do is save the conscious people who are aware of what's going on and try to help ourselves in order to help them. That's the first thing. And it's just so messed up. But my second thing, I talked to Reverend Walton last week, and I gave him a comment that made him laugh. I don't think he told you about it yet, but I gave the president a new name. His new name is number 45, Orange Cheeto in charge. He just laughed his butt off. You know
No, he didn't tell me that one. That's different one. I had not heard that one.
And you ain't gonna never hear it because you heard it from the Watergate kid, period. He don't care nothing about nothing got going on, ain't pulling no punches back. It's punches and bunches for me. So Reverend Sharpton, appreciate you taking my call. And you talk to Reverend Walton, you tell him what I said. He gonna look back to you. I remember. So have a great day and keep doing what you're doing. We're not giving up, okay?
All right, let's not give up. I agree with that. Let's go to a Renee in Atlanta, Georgia. Renee.
Good afternoon, Reverend Sharpton.
Good afternoon.
I'm calling in from Atlanta because, and I want to make a point. I'm calling in from Atlanta because I'm very ticked off right now. I'm very ticked off. I wish it was Monday or Friday. But that being said, I've been watching what's been going on around here, and I kind of feel like I'm alone in feeling that we need to activate. This town is asleep. You hear me? I was looking at TV the other night, and I saw Reverend Bernice King on talking about some things, and I saw I was looking at some stuff Jasmine Crockett had been doing, and I said, we need to activate. It doesn't make any sense. We're not going to get another one of Bernice King's fathers. We're not going to get another Dr. King. But in the absence of that, why aren't we activating in each major city,
right,
like Trump is doing with the military? Why don't we activate and stop spending our money with them in each major city? You got to hit them where it hurts. If you're too scared to die, and you're too scared to get a water hose put on you, and you're too scared for a dog's tooth to be on you, or to lose your conscience like John Lewis did, well, hell, stop spending your money with them. I'm saying let's activate. And organizations like NAN, that I'm proud to be a member of, need to also have the other organizations take your lead in that. You're unbought and unbossed, as my soror, Shirley Chisholm, said.
Yep.
Your fingers are too deep in the pockets of these doggone companies, and that's why you can't boycott against them.
Yeah.
So at least on a one-on-one basis,
You said it right.
I use my feet. 1, 2, my feet. Tom and Jerry. They get me everywhere I need to go, and guess what? I'm not going in places that disrespect me or my kind, and they need to take a note from that. And until we can do that, we will lose the fight. We will lose the fight. I am scared that we will lose the fight. What can I do by myself down here in Atlanta?
Well, let me say this. You're absolutely right. Thank you for your call, Renee. Let me say this, as you say you remember Nan. I'll be in Atlanta. There's in October, there is a documentary coming out that Rachel Maddow from MSNBC has done on former Mayor Andrew Young. And she and I and Andrew Young are going to do a showing in Atlanta at, I believe it's Clark University. And I'm going to meet with the local NAN chapter while I'm there. So look out for me to announce it because I want to meet with all our people there. We need to activate Atlanta. And I'm going to try to come in a day before so I can meet that earlier that day or the night before that I go to Clark with Ambassador Young because I need Atlanta lit up. We have the office there, and certainly Ms. Edith and Damon Bynum and them are doing a good job, but I need that chapter leadership strong, and I need to distribute there how we're going to go with these shares in these corporations. So stay tuned. Coming to Atlanta, coming to Washington with it. There's going to be a lot happening now. The march was great in August, but we don't do one march a year. We got to organize and follow up. All right, let's go to Tommy in Chicago, Illinois. Tommy, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
A pleasant afternoon to you, Reverend Sharpton, and especially to all of those who are in your listening audience. You know, Rev, last time I spoke with you, I seriously did not mean to say to you in any way, shape, or form that I was frustrated enough to the point that I was ready to resort to any sort of violence. My frustration, Reverend, is just based upon the fact for every individual watchman. A watchman is an individual who came and spoke the truth, the buck naked truth. When they passed, another watchman would be put in their place. You know, I have adoration, but Rev, at this moment right now, you are our Dr. King. You are at the table. You are on the major platforms all over the world, have traveled this world. If they will not listen to an individual who's at the White House, who's at a broadcasting company, who showed their diligence in coming and communicating, didn't care who they were. If you called in saying this about whites or that or the other, you would always. And I want to say thank you for elevating my stinking thinking, because that's where we're at, Rev. There's nothing else to talk about. I mean, if you're talking, I shut up. It's time for people like me and anybody else to shut up and get out of your emotions, because being emotional is how we got here. And if this was a political assassination, as they say, I want to ask all those individuals who could not vote for a female, could not embrace their culture of where she came from educationally wise, did not even perceive the fact that the only individual who ran for the candidacy of the United States of America was given 107 days, and 7 is the number of completion, and it's time to complete this absolute, unequivocal ignorance of your culture, of your history, and how we got. It ain't about Democrats. It's about human beings now. Because if the Democrats had won, we'd have been hearing the same nonsense with the Republicans. It is not about that anymore. It's about, do you understand this is the greatest country on the face of the earth? And I'm sorry for being so long, but I ask you as my spiritual leader and someone I know would tell me the truth, Rev, what is your take on these pastors who say they represent God and coming and talking about we can't and we won't and all the rest of it? Be blessed, and my name is no longer, why don't you subscribe to www. No, it's called Reverend Reality. My name is Reverend Reality now. www. Don't call Reverend Reality, because I'm pretty much going to cuss you out. Goodbye.
Well, thank you for your call. Let me say this, Tommy. I think that there's been nothing more egregious and offensive to me than those that claim to be representing God as clergy and will not stand up for the truth and not stand up for what God called them to be. That's what I think. And the kidnapping of Christianity, and that's what it has been, and trying to make it a weapon of white supremacy is, in my opinion, sinful, and I would say even more of heresy than one would commonly think. To take the word of God and use that to starve people, take people from their health care, to hurt innocent children, to bless those that would kill innocent children, whether they're in the inner cities of the U.S. or in Gaza, and to bless that is blasphemous, since you asked the question. And I try to spend every day trying to counter that kind of ministry. Now, I don't get too crazy, because as long as there's been history, there have been those that distorted. All through the Bible, there were false prophets. All through the Bible, there were the leaders of the church that were wrong. It was the leaders of the synagogue that called on Jesus to be crucified. So this is nothing new. Don't forget, Jesus was attacked and brought before Pilate by the leaders of the church. Last time we saw Jesus in the synagogue, he was turning over the table saying, "You've turned my Father's house from a house of prayer to a den of thieves." And that's what they're doing now. But, well, let's make everybody rich. Prosperity ministry. What about freedom ministry? What about equality ministry? I don't have a problem with people being prosperous, but prosperity without power will lead to nothing. Let's take a break. Be right back. Keeping it real. I don't know how Tommy got me steamed up. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back.
I want to ask you a question, and that is, what is in your life's blueprint? This is the most important and crucial period of your lives, for what you do now and what you decide now at this age may well determine which way your life shall go. And whenever a building is constructed, you usually have an architect who draws a blueprint. And that blueprint serves as the pattern, as the guide, as the model for those who are to build the building. And a building is not well erected without a good, sound, and solid blueprint. Now each of you is in the process of building the structure of your lives. And the question is whether you have a proper, a solid, and a sound blueprint. And I want to suggest some of the things that should be in your life's blueprint. Number one in your life's blueprint should be a deep belief in your own dignity, your own worth, and your own somebodyness. Don't allow anybody to make you feel that you are nobody. Always feel that you count. Always feel that you have worth. And always feel that your life has ultimate significance.
Los Angeles chapter, NASDAQ Network. She just came here to New York a couple days ago, had to stop by the House of Justice, and I sure enough found some justice, so I know I can leave here feeling like I got peace.
Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. Let's go back to the phone. Attorney Jennifer Jones Austin is. Every day, Monday through Friday, I do 3 hours a day on Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton. I do 1 hour on Sunday mornings with Reverend Al Sharpton. and I'm live on radio and TV with the Saturday Action Rally. 7 days a week, I talk to our people, hear from them, to call in. I'm sick and tired of people talking for people that they don't talk to. So go on www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Listen to my show, call in, express your opinion. You don't have to agree with me. But let's start talking to each other rather than about each other and lecturing at each other. Let's keep it real with Sharpton.
Can't afford to live it. And so when I was growing up, I was political without being political, in the sense that I was very angry about things.
Right.
Because, you just felt like things were being done to you and no one was speaking to you, your family, your neighbors about how to actually involve you in shaping the place that you lived. And I got involved in quite a few protests and organizing. And then I had a lot of support, and people at the time said, "Oh, we've got primaries for election for the council," and I was like, "What's a councillor?" And then I put myself forward, and I had zero expectation, and won, and I served 3 times as a councillor.
Wow.
Yeah. So
well,
we must host you. We must host you in Hackney when you next
I
month.
love that. Simon's trying to get me to lock down some dates now. And coming back.
Have you ever met the mayor of London?
Yeah, I bet. He did a television show that I was sitting in for a guy, because it wasn't my show. And we met and talked. He said that he knew a lot of what we were doing over here.
Yeah.
He says he knows me.
I mean, you've inspired so many of us around. That's the message I wanted to bring to you, which is, I know the work you do is predominantly around sort of the US, and to give, marginalized voices, a sense of power and a sense of a voice. But also, all of us in the UK and in London, we look to you to get our inspiration. And certainly for the mayor, we'd love to host you.
I will do that. I'd love to.
I mean, I think one of the things that it'd be good to, I guess I would want this inspiration from you is you've been through, you've seen it all, and you've been through much more worse than what we've seen in the UK. And as you're saying, I think all of the things that we thought we were advancing on, whether it's around gender equality, racial justice, climate action, I think in the last few years, all of that is now going backwards, right? And for me, it's one of the things that I've learned now thinking through this is, even when you're winning, you never take your foot off the pedal of the gas. And it's as you were saying, it's I'll be very keen to get your thoughts on, what is the message we can take back to.
I think that if we study history, it's always one step forward, then they're going to push back. I think that part of the naivety that a lot of activists, elected or unelected, is they think that if we do this one piece of legislation or get this one thing through, that we won. No, you had a temporary victory, but there's going to always be forces against you. So I think you have to set in your mind very young that this is going to be a lifetime struggle, and it's never going to be over. But history should record I was on the right side, and I did everything. I did my side, because history's ongoing. The example I use here a lot to people in my organization, to the young people and is that for 246 years we were slaves, African American. Then we got the Emancipation Proclamation. Walk off the plantation. 246 years unpaid, against the law to read and write. Don't know where your family is because we're sold to different states. Somehow they put it together and they started building their churches and their businesses and all. And by Lincoln starting the Reconstruction, 12 years Reconstruction, put 22 people in the Congress. But Lincoln gets killed. His vice president takes over, who was a racist. And they reversed all that. We went through 100 years of lynchings by law. Couldn't vote by law, taking back everything we did. Then King comes along, advance again, then backlash again with rape. So it's always this going forward and backward. Keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton. 1-877-532-5797, or go to live stream at nationalactionnetwork.net and send me a message, and I will be glad to read as many of them as I can. Laurie Parks is saying, one of the greatest icon R&B singers put it all in his legendary True to Fact song album, James Brown. It's a man's world. What he did say in his lyrics, which are the words to that song, go back and listen. Well, I heard that song so many nights. I was on the road with James Brown, like his son. I could tell you the lyrics, but she's right. Let you go back and listen, because he says it's a man's world, but it wouldn't be nothing without a woman or a girl. Man made the car to carry him around. Well, I won't do the whole lyrics. I'm going to let Laurie tell you to go and pick them up, but I could do the whole lyrics. I had to hear it. You know, James Brown took me under his wing when I was a teenager. His son, same age as me, had joined my youth group when he came up to New York from Augusta, Georgia, and got killed in a car accident. So James Brown kind of had me replace Teddy, his son. So he used to take me around the world. People used to say I was his road manager. I was never his road manager. He would sometimes tell me to go take care of the business if his manager wasn't there. But he always kept me in the church, kept saying, I promised your mama I wouldn't take you out to church. And I promised her that I'd continue civil rights work, because I had started National Youth Movement then. And I think, you know, day after tomorrow is my birthday. I think many times, if it had not been for James Brown in my life and a Jesse Jackson in my life, who I met when I was 12, I met James Brown when I was 17, my life might have been much different. And I say that to say I've tried to be that for others that come out of situations like I did. And you should try to do that. You know, the older folks that you looked up to and I looked up to, we have become. And a lot of young folk can get messed up looking up to the wrong old folks. Don't be that. Don't forget, by way of announcements, Politics Nation with Al Sharpton every Saturday and Sunday. It's Wednesday, so you know I'm already working on getting the right guests around this shutdown, around what is going on with this military North Korean style rally that they had, around the whole question of where we are going with the government now saying we're putting military troops in Memphis, military government troops in Chicago. What is that manifesting itself to be? So I have on members of the Senate, a couple of the governors. I'm working on this already. Make sure you watch Politics Nation with Al Sharpton live at 5 p.m. Eastern Time on MSNBC. Live at 5 Eastern Time every Saturday and Sunday on MSNBC. And of course, you in the tri-state area, meet me or beat me. to the Saturday Action Rally at the House of Justice. I'll be there Saturday, and we'll be dealing with all these issues, and the members will be celebrating my birthday. My birthday is Friday, and be there 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at the House of Justice, 145th Street and Lenox Avenue. And then Monday night, and we already are at capacity, but I'm still inviting you, because if some people call and get off the list, we're going to put the people on the waiting list in to be at the annual National Action Network Triumph Awards. And it's free. And this year's honorees will be Kenneth Edmonds, better known as Babyface, Kenneth Babyface Edmonds, great artist and involved in the community. Stephanie Mills, the golden voice. She also out of Brooklyn. I've known Stephanie. She and I have known each other most of our lives. She has went to the top pinnacles of entertainment, but never forgot her grassroots. And we're honoring her. Ari Melba, young man on MSNBC, took the show to Beat and did a cultural mix of hip-hop and politics that nobody's mastered like him. Become a very strong show at that hour, and we're honoring him. Chesley Maddox Dorsey, who has maintained one of the few black-owned national black networks of news, and certainly that woman needs to be honored. And the one and only Vincent Bohannon, who is a gospel singer extraordinaire this generation. I was fortunate to grow up under James Cleveland. He used to come to our church all the time, and the Soul Stirrers. And then I was peers with Timothy Wright, who ended up being in the same church I grew up in, Washington Temple Church of God in Christ, and his son's continuing. And Vincent Bohannon is in that tradition, and we're honoring him. To get your tickets, get on the wait list now. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net, www.nationalactionnetwork.net, or call the toll-free number 1-877-626-4651, 1-877-626-4651. And you can say, Reverend Al, I'm sorry I waited too late, but I want to get on the list. Well, call in, tell them that, and you want to get on the list. Let's go to phones. Let me go to Bruce in Georgia. Bruce, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Good afternoon, Reverend.
Good afternoon.
Before I say anything, thank you for taking the leadership at a time when it's so much needed by all of our leaders. But thank you for being the spearhead of all of what's taking place right now. And people do depend on you. Even though people complain, they definitely depend upon you.
Well,
I want you to know that. I happen to be one of them. At times like this, we have a tendency to turn against, especially those people who lost their jobs, don't know when they're getting their job back, and they look up and they say, oh, these people are not doing anything, and now we've lost our jobs. I need to have them, you said don't use a slogan, but I think they need a slogan that they used in South Africa and even in the Congo when the Belgians pulled out. And that was short-term pain for long-term gain. And you have to look forward, and you have to take that pain for a short period of time because you know it's coming. But after that, it's a long period of pain. I mean, a long period of prosperity. I think my phone cut out. Yeah, I've been hanging on for an hour.
No, I'm here.
Oh, God.
I'm here.
Oh, okay. All right. The people have to know not to blame Democrats because I always turn on Fox for a minute. That's all I can take is a minute of Fox. And they're already twisting this whole thing around, saying now they're spending more time with this, negotiating, and these people are losing their medical, this, that, and the other because of the Democrats. And people have to understand that the Democrats, you can complain about them, but I think they're taking a positive move at this time. I think this was the right move to take, even though we suffer some losses right now. But those losses we make up later on. We cannot continue to give in to the Republicans every time we turn around. They want something because they don't care what happens to any of us. And they will continue to do this over and over and over again. The other thing that I wanted to mention is this thing that you're talking about now with this military stuff. This is, I think, is even more than anything else. They want to have the whole country in martial law. That way the president does not have to go up for another election because he will have martial law and make all the moves that he needs to make at that time. We can't, and I see everything going forward that they're going to get worse and worse until the other Republicans who hold office will stand up and have some guts to say, no, you can't do that. But as long as they're sitting back and they have the Supreme Court to follow up on everything they do, they're going to continue to do what they're going to do, and they're going to do it even worse.
Yeah.
These people that he hires, yes, I just can't see them doing anything that worse than they're doing. And I'm glad to see that you're here to help us through. And I'm asking one last question before I go. I was going to say, if they come after you, what is our method of attack? And I shouldn't say if, when they come after you.
Well,
what is it?
We have a method, and I'm not going to say it on the radio because then they'll be strategizing against it. But they've already been after me from threats to I've been stabbed, prosecuted. Whatever they try to do to me, I've already been through. But we got plans, and we are taking very, very serious precautions. But I appreciate you. I appreciate what you said, Bruce. It means a lot. Let's take a break. Be right back. Keeping it real. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back.
Breaking.
Country, talking to the radio announcers, the church people and the street people, telling them that God has smiled on me. God has smiled on you if you got breath in your body. If he woke you up this morning and started you on your way. But I want to tell you some stories of people that God smiled on. We know the story of Dr. Martin Luther King, how he started way back in Montgomery, Alabama in 1955, trying just to get dignity, trying to get respect. And he went all the way to the mountaintop. But he didn't forget about the brothers in the valley. He didn't forget about those trapped in the alley. And I hear Brother Martin King say, God has smiled on me. He's been good to me. Let me tell you, God has smiled on me. It's been so good to me. Then I see as Dr. King went on, another man stepping to the forefront by the name of John F. Kennedy, who rose up and said, let's not stand back. Let's not wait for a handout. Let's wait for a way out. He said, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. He said, don't us gravel and don't us moan, because God done smile on us. Let me say it. God has come out. They call him the King of Soul, James Brown. And James Brown said, Reverend, don't you worry. I started out as a shoe shine boy. I started out as a convict. I started out uneducated. But I learned to sing my song, and I sung it all over the world. I told him it was a man's world. I told him about the big payback. I told him Papa got a brand new bag. And all over the world, they can hear my voice. But Reverend, don't you frown. Don't you bow your head. Tell them what you told me, Brother Brown. And she said, son, even though we don't have much, we don't need relief, all we need is belief. And she said, he didn't tell you no lie, because the Lord will take care of you. God sits high, but he looks down low. And every time you get discouraged, every time you're burdened down, all you have to do is think of the things that God made a way for you and look toward the heavens. Lift your eyes to the hills and say, God, 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 come smile on me. Now then the God has smiled on me. He has set me free. God has smiled on me. That has been so good to me. Yes, he has. I say, God smiled on me. He has set me free. And I know all over the country, smile on me. We need jobs. We need a way to make it. We need help. We need jobs. We need a way to make some money to feed our families and raise our bread. We need a way to survive, so we don't need crime as a survival kit. We just need a little bit. But don't give the hope up. Don't lose the faith, because God will smile on you. God will give you the strength. God will make a way for you. Adam Great Power said, keep the faith. Keep the faith, baby. I hear Robert Kennedy saying that it's not the dream of, but it's the dream that'll live on forever. Just know that God will smile on you. Dr. King had a dream. Dr. King said, I went to the mountaintop, but I didn't stop there. I looked over and saw the promised land. I hear Brother Malcolm saying, don't sit on the stoop. Stand up and be a man. Respect yourself. Be somebody. Then I hear the brothers in the Hispanic community say, I'm going to stand up and be a man. I'm going to do the best I can. I had a reaper say, I don't care what time you come home, but just give me some respect when you get there. God has smiled on me. He has set me free. God smiled on me. You've been so good to me. Sit down. And as we move on in history, let us remember that if we look to God, God has the answer to all of our problems. God is still the same God he was years ago, and we can still make it. We can still hold on like Frederick Douglass did. We can still keep him on like Martin Luther King did. We can still ride on the way everyone that made it did. They didn't have much, but they had a whole lot of faith. They didn't have money, but they had a lot of determination. We know that God will look out for his children, that God will make a way out of
I had a thought this morning that I wanted to share with you about mentorship. I am able to do a lot of what I do because I had great mentors, but there are correct ways and incorrect ways to mentor people, in my opinion. I was mentored as a boy preacher by Bishop F.D. Washington, one of the great Pentecostal preachers of his time. Then Reverend William Jones became my pastor after Bishop Washington died, who was unquestionably in the top 5 black church ministers, theologians. Reverend Jesse Jackson, who I started my activism under his leadership, he and Reverend Jones. And I learned politics directly as a youth director from Shirley Chisholm. So even though I didn't finish college, I I had the most unique education in the world from being exposed to giants. But the one thing I learned is as I grew older and people started coming younger than me and wanted me to teach and mentor them, the magic of the mentors I had is they did not want me to be their clone. They wanted me to learn things from them and use my own gifts and talents in my own unique way and let me do things on my own, because they knew that if I flopped in some things, it would teach me for the other things. They'll come and help me once I was down, but they were not going to have me avoid being down. And they were not going to impose themselves on me. Why am I saying that? Because too many mentors want clones, and too many mentees want their mentors to put them on a pedestal. Oh, so-and-so didn't do this for me. Oh, so-and-so didn't open doors for me. If they got to open doors for you, it may mean that they knew you weren't ready to go through those doors. Their job is to prepare you. Your job is to develop your own skills, your own unique ways. And I don't care if it's my daughters, who both have come. Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back 187. Hold on.
In Philadelphia. So I wanted to say this, that the last time we had a government shutdown was in 2019. And what do we have in common with this shutdown? That Trump was in office at that time.
Right.
So the last two times we've had a shutdown, it's been Republicans, because they don't care about American working people. Because if and I just want to say this too, that the laws have to be changed. We are living in an outdated system. Why is it that working people who are working to pay their bills and do everything they have to do, especially with tariffs and the hard times that people are having now, they don't get a paycheck? But Congress and the Senate continue to get their pay, continue to get their medical insurance, continue to get all the perks of everything while not doing their job. But people still have to show up doing work, not getting paid, and then other people are furloughed. So even when they go back, because people keep saying, well, when they go back, they're going to get the money back. But then they owe all that money out. You have to still pay your rent. You have to still pay your mortgage. You have to still pay the utilities. Even if you tell people I'm furloughed or the government is shut down, that doesn't stop the bills coming in. So even when they get a lump sum of money, when they go back, it still is going back out. So it's not like they're getting some windfall or some extra money or a bonus. People don't get bonuses working for the federal government. They get a straight pay, and that's it. And so what this administration is doing all the time, they don't care about working people. And I don't understand why people of other races don't get that. They keep voting for their race instead of voting for their class. Instead of voting for the class that you're in, the amount of money that you're making. Why would a billionaire or people that are out there like these Musk and these Bezos, they're not even in our stratosphere. They don't even know what a gallon of milk costs. They don't even know what how to fill up a tank of gas, because they have people doing that for them. They have maids and stuff like that, and people who drive them around. So why are you so worried about and trying to appease these people when you're living in the working world, going to a Costco or a BJ's or the supermarket or going to the Wawa to fill up your gas tank, but you're still going to align yourself with billionaires who are not even in the same class as us? And they should not be getting paid. If people out here are going to work and not getting paid, then they should not get paid too. And I bet you $1 to a donut that they would have a budget passed, because then they would be affected. If you can't pay your bills, if you can't go and say, I need to take out $5 from the ATM or whatever you need, or whatever you need to do, pay child care or whatever, then you'll see how it feels for regular working people. But they don't care, because they don't feel what people are feeling out here. And it's not right. And then the last thing I want to say is that this thing with Hegseth, with these Army generals, he's sitting up there saying the quiet stuff out loud. There's no more beardos. There's no more DEI. While he has black generals sitting in the audience, people who have given their lives, people who are smart, dedicated to this country, and we have an alcoholic, four-time divorced or married a four-time divorced man up there talking about honor, character, and moralities. I mean, this is going to go down in history as it's just going to be a joke. It's just a circus. It's a clown show, and it's an embarrassment. We're going to spend $6 million to get those generals there, shut down the government, and people don't even have money to put in their pocketbook. Reverend Al, make it make sense. It doesn't make sense. This is a disgrace what's happening in this country, and we really got to stand up. We got to get out here. We got to let them know we are not taking this, and I hope everybody remembers this in May 2026. People have a short memory span, but let him keep trying to destroy this country and what he's doing, then they shouldn't have a short memory span, because then they won't have any money. Tariffs will be hitting us hard, and we need to get out here and vote, and we need to remember all the stuff that they are doing to us now. It is a disgrace.
No, I think you couldn't have said it better. I think that people do have a short memory span, which is why we need to be on every vehicle, social media, cable media, social media, whatever is available, radio, keeping this alive in people's head. So people do not, one of the things that I fear, Lola, and thank you for your call, is that if they do not hear the truth, they will begin to normalize this and act like this is just the way it's supposed to be. That, yeah, well, government shuts down and I'm going to be weeks before I get my check. Like this is normal. While people are trading billions of dollars with no interference. And it's working class federal workers and the services that they provide that's interrupted. We can't let this be normalized. We got to talk about it every day, all day. Let's go to Raj in Cleveland, Ohio. Raj.
Hey, Reverend. Hey, Reverend. How you doing? Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Hey, there's a few things. Yeah, she's that last caller's right on point. And yesterday, Reverend Warren, he was on, and and not only him, I heard people saying this along with him himself. Don't worry about what Trump says, watch what he does. Now, that's partly true, all right, and that's part of getting to the solution. However, you do have to pay close attention to what he says, because that's the game plan that he's intending things, to work out in the way he wants it to work out, and he's like verbalizing it, and so you have to at least prepare for just in case things happen the way he wants to, which is always against the people and for himself and those in his circles. So it's like when you go into battle against the enemy in war, part of the winning strategy is to know ahead in advance what the strategy may be. And so, but I could see what he's saying, like in terms of don't don't panic before you
yeah, and I think I wasn't on that segment, but I think what he was saying is that sometimes we get so caught up on his rhetoric, he being Donald Trump, that we don't watch what he does. But I also see your point, and that is that what he says, not only do I agree with you that it is a forecast of what he wants to do, what he says triggers some people out there that may know or think that what he's saying needs to be done, and they'll do it. I mean, he incites people to do stuff.
Right.
So you got to watch what he's saying, because you got people out there that's taking his word as gospel.
Yeah, that's true. And then your opening commentary, I've been saying I agree, wholeheartedly agree, and I've been saying that for a while too. Like we have to see things in teams and work in, see how everybody fits. In the grand scheme of things, to work towards solutions. And you look at the young people, they a lot of them that voted for Trump, they think in individualism, and they idolize individuals who are wrapped up in sensationalism. That's why you got some of them to break down the whole life of the rappers, and they're like larger than life, and that's how they fantasize themselves to be larger than life individuals. That's why they fell for Trump's garbage. It's individualism, narcissism, sensationalism, and all of that. So they don't think in terms of teams, and they don't think
I totally agree.
Opponents.
I totally agree. Got to take my break. You hear the music. I'll be right back. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back.
Thing past hope. Because, I grew up, like I said, single mama on welfare. And my mother told me there's a part in life that hope's gonna run out. But she told me you got a double barrel in your engine. I said, what is that? She said, you can switch from hope to faith. Faith is a little deeper than hope. Bishop Hilly is here. Faith is when hope runs out. Faith is the substance of things. Hope for the evidence of things not seen. Faith is when we were emancipated after 246 years of slavery and walked off the plantations with no education, no money, no future. And we built black churches and black colleges and black fraternities. We had faith. Faith made us stand up to the most powerful nation in the world and turn it around. Faith means we went from the back of the bus to the front of the White House. We come this far by faith, leaning on the Lord, trusting in His holy word. He never failed us yet.
How are you? Highly favored. Highly favored. Perfect. Thank you. All right. Love you.
Over your house.
All right, man.
We have a young man in the studio who I think is an astounding young brother because of his youth. He's only 19 years old and he's accomplished a lot, and he's here to make a presentation to James Brown, and we'd like to welcome him warmly. His name is Al Sharpton. How about if Al Sharpton? Al is the national director of the National Youth Movement Incorporated. Right, Al?
That's right.
And what do we have here?
Well, we come to break tradition. We know that in the recording industry that they give a gold record to those that achieve a million seller. But we view your million seller payback as a black record because it is relevant and says many of the things that young blacks have tried to say and could not musically express in our own little way. And we feel the payback is sort of like the theme song of Young Black America in 1974. Yeah.
Now, before you go into the title tune of your latest album, you have a special guest.
Yeah, I do have a special guest, a young lady.
That's going to perform with you?
Yeah, she's going to take.
And I think that is extremely important about the funding. But I also want to add how they are changing what can be taught. You have states outright saying you can't teach black history and you can't teach certain other histories and the curriculum. You have this administration that is literally taking out exhibits from the Smithsonian. So we have not only an education problem in terms of resources, we have an education problem in terms of curriculum and what people are being taught. So I have one grandchild, 6-year-old. When he gets to high school, it may be just against the law for him to learn about certain parts of American history, which includes blacks. We want to talk about slavery. We want to talk about the good side of America. Well, what does that mean? That's not history. Everything was not good. And I think that that is the threat that we've got to fight, which is why we've got to fight in the courts and the streets, because they are literally changing the textbooks as we go. As they do that, they change the opportunities, because then the fight against affirmative action is not having access to these institutions and telling these institutions, this whole fight around DEI, which they did, started at Harvard with a black woman president. Started with them saying you can't teach diversity in an Ivy League school like Harvard. It didn't start in Little Rock at the high school. This fight, this time, was Harvard. And they went from there on. And I think that we've got to have the same resistance. If they could fight in the 50s, it ain't some people defense forces together and deal with the question from Little Rock in terms of desegregation. Then we that are far more educated, far more economically secure personally, have no excuse in the age of what they did in Harvard not to be standing up back in this. I would argue that DEI is a result of those that by law and later by enforcement would not deal with diversity, would not deal with including people of color, gender, sexual orientation, as well as disabled. And the conscious effort by government and the private sector to begin to equalize the opportunities of this country was something that makes it more humane and fair for all of us. To DEI, diversify, is not based on the lack of merit. We could not show our merit because we were pompous conservatives that talk about we want a society based on merit. Well then, if it's based on merit, then why did you discriminate based on race and gender? Until they cut off much of the population and then had merit between white males. That was what they meant, not merit. Let's have real merit, but let's also make up the ground that those of us with merit was not able to compete.
So you're live.
Keeping it real.
You're live. You're live.
Keeping it real. Keeping it real. I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we are back. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. And Shirley J. Baker says on our message line, on our message page, I should say, quote, we have moved from an era of civil rights to an era of human rights, end of quote. That's quoted from Dr. Martin Luther King and at the Frogmore, South Carolina strategy. That's where they used to do retreats at Frogmore. This before I was a kid in the SCLC, but I know about that because I was raised by people that was in those meetings. And that quote was from 1967, and Dr. King was killed in 68. And he had broadened it to an international human rights struggle, came out against the war in Vietnam and raised global issues. And it is still, and underscore that, a human rights issue. But civil rights is part of human rights. The thing that I always say to people, Shirley, is that if I flew in here from a foreign country, I have the human right when I land at the airport not to be harmed, defrauded. I have human right, but I don't have a civil right to vote. So I think sometimes we have this false choice of human rights or civil rights. I want both. I'm a citizen and I'm a human being. So I don't have to choose one or the other. Nobody else does that's born here or that becomes a citizen here. So I agree with the quote. And I think that a lot of us need to, some people use anything as an excuse. Well, I'm not into civil rights. I'm into human rights. Or I'm not into human rights. I'm into civil rights. No, you into both. And I think that we need to be clear about that. Let me go to the phones. Let me go to Ronnie in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Ronnie, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton. Ronnie, are you there? I do not hear Ronnie. Let me go to Atlanta, Georgia, to James then. James, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Yes, Reverend Sharpton.
Yeah.
You know, a few days ago, 2 or 3 days or nights ago, one of your MSNBC hosts, played a clip of Trump a few years ago in 2011 during the President Obama administration, when we were also facing a government shutdown with the government, I guess, Republican-controlled Senate at the time.
Uh-huh.
And, Trump stated that, speaking of President Obama, he stated that the government shutdown is a negative mark against the president, and that the president should get both sides in the room and the president should lead. That's what he stated regarding President Obama in 2011. And that clip and clips such as that should be repeatedly played.
I think you're right. I'm texting while you talking, saying I want to pull that clip up. That's impactful, isn't it?
Should continually remind him of his own words.
Yeah, and the public of his words.
Yep, the public were not aware of it. I mean, I wasn't familiar with it until I saw it on MSNBC.
That's very important. I love that you brought that up. All right, I just text my team over there at MSNBC to see if they can dig that up, and I'll run it again. I appreciate your call. Let me go to Sarah in Washington, D.C. Sarah.
Good afternoon, Reverend Al. Thank you for taking my call.
Thank you for calling.
Do you know anything about a march here in Washington for No King?
I know they're having a march, No King. The date is not in front of me. I know National Action Network is supporting it. They supported us on the Wall Street March. I will get the information and announce it, so keep listening. But there is a march planned. I know it is in October. I just don't know the actual date, and I do not want to give out the wrong date.
I understand. And also, I want to wish you a early happy birthday in case I can't get on the phone.
Well, I appreciate that.
On the 3rd is your birthday, right?
That's right. This Friday, day after tomorrow, I'm doing everything I can to be here.
And my mother's is the 20th. My beloved mother in heaven was 100.
Wow. My mother's birthday was the 28th, and she would have been 100. So me and you have that in common. My mother passed in 2012, but I celebrate her birthday. We always was. It's interesting, Sarah, that we have. My mother was the 28th, and a week later, on October 3rd, was my birthday, and a week later, on October 8th, was Jesse Jackson's birthday, who helped mentor me. So we went through always 2 weeks of birthdays that we'd be calling each other and dealing with each other. And I guess that's just the way it was supposed to be.
Yes, and then Kamala, she's the 20th, so she's on my mom's birthday.
Kamala is on October 20th?
Yeah, my mom's birthday, yeah. Kamala Harris, yes.
I'm glad you told me. I'm going to write that down and make sure I surprise. She always has somebody on her staff get on the phone on my birthday. I'm going to surprise her this time. And you told me something I need to know. I was with her last Sunday night here in New York. And let me say this. Thank you for your call. people need to know that the publisher, Simon & Schuster, has said that Kamala Harris in the first week has sold 350,000 books. Only Taylor Swift and one other rock and roll or artist have sold more books than that in 1 week. So her book is a hit. People say what they want. People are buying her book, and I'm reading it and listening to it on audio book, because sometime with traveling, it's easier to hear the audio books than sitting around reading. And she did the audio book herself. It's in her voice, and it's a very good book. I'm very pleased with it. And she had called me right before she was coming to New York last week and told me to make sure you get the book. I want to see you while I'm there. In fact, she wrote a couple of paragraphs about some of the stuff she and I did together. But that's not why I'm saying the book is good. She's giving some blow-by-blows on the behind-the-scenes stuff. And it's not a book to just attack Joe Biden like the press is saying. She's just being honest and candid about what happened behind the scenes that she and others should have done. And I think that's what we want in our public officials. Let's go to Roger in Portland, Oregon. Roger, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Hey, thank you, Rev. I'd like to say happy birthday, early birthday. But I also wanted to let the listeners know to not fall for the open-dope. You know, this presidency, all of his pronouns and the work that he's doing should not go unnoticed. That when the president decides to shoot out that kicker check to smooth over all the wrong that he's done, people are easily to forget that a $1,500, $2,500 kicker check can make you feel good, but not to cover up the work that they have already done. So I just want the listeners to know, don't fall for the open-dope.
I love it. And you're right. It's like somebody, robbing your house, taking everything out of your house and give you back one chair, and you're supposed to thank them for it. I mean, here's a tip. I'll give you a chair back so you can sit down and look at your empty house I just robbed. I mean, that's what they...
Exactly.
It's tantamount to.
Exactly. So I just wanted the listeners to understand, be aware when he sent out a kicker check and what that kicker check means.
Yeah. And the reason why you're so right, if you remember when he sent out checks last time, first time when government gave some people some kind of relief. By the way, John Stofk, Stofko, Stofk, I don't want to mispronounce his name, says no King's March is on the 18th of October, October 18th. Thank you, John, because we support it. Everybody needs to support each other's protest with this craziness going on. It's October 18th, and you can go online and find out where in your city we'll be marching. But I think that what people don't understand, anytime the government gives assistance, this is the first time in American history where the president wanted his signature on the check. And you got a lot of people that are not involved as much as you and I, that just run around saying, Donald Trump sent me some money. Donald Trump didn't send you anything. The government gave some money.
The government.
And they go for, as you properly say, the okie doke. And you got relief checks when Biden was in, but Biden didn't put his name on the check. And I think that you're absolutely right.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Let's get ready to take our break. We'll be right back. Keeping it real. Sharpton, be right back. Reverend Al Sharpton and there with him. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. Let's go back to the phone. Attorney Jennifer Jones Austin is. Every day, Monday through Friday, I do 3 hours a day on Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton. I do 1 hour on Sunday mornings with Reverend Al Sharpton. And I'm live on radio and TV with the Saturday Action Rally. 7 days a week, I talk to our people, hear from them, the call-in. I'm sick and tired of people talking for people that they don't talk to. So go on www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Listen to my show, call in, express your opinion. You don't have to agree with me. But let's start talking to each other rather than about each other and lecturing at each other. Let's keep it real with Sharpton. Hey, what's up? They got, they're doing, thank you. They're doing, what's on your mind? Yeah. All right, then, you got a birthday this week. I got to talk about that.
Oh, no.
Happy birthday this weekend. And Carrie White's birthday, right?
Corey's birthday's today.
Yeah, and I got to tell Reverend Bird be ready Daniel 5th chapter. I want him to read. And I'm ready. Got a message from today, so we'll be on the air in what? Half hour.
About a half hour.
You should tune in to WBLS 107.5 FM and National Impact and www.nationalactionnetwork.net. All right, I'm ready. Make sure you operate on time or I'll tell them how old you are. This way it all starts.
How are you? Highly favored. Highly favored. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Love you.
Over you holler. All right, man.
So we just wanted to greet you all and thank you for allowing us in. Yes, sir. We was here.
They were on the plantation.
Our family was on the plantation. Wow. And that's, of course, that's the slave house. It's one of the slave houses.
Sir, it's been 13 years.
That's right.
Good to
How
see
you been?
Doing fine. Good.
Last time. And we,
Alexander Sharpton. How many slaves were staying there?
I have no idea.
This is where they would have a slave.
Yeah, that's what, exactly. That was exactly.
I just felt like the two people that most influenced my life were from South Carolina, James and Jesse. Jesse right up the road from me. I went for his mother's funeral. Jesse walked me to my mother's casket. Two South Carolina. That's the balance of my life, James and Jesse.
Yeah.
Civil rights, shoulders.
But also where your people from too.
Literally.
Yeah, right.
And when I knew Jesse was from James, you know, I started Brevard.
Yeah.
And James had died before I knew about it in South Carolina.
Oh, really?
Yeah. James died December 25th. He died Christmas Day, 06. And they came to do the story for February of 07. They came in January. His daughter swear that was his daddy and having pushing the information out.
Wow.
And I called Jesse and told him, do you know that my great-grandfather was a slave about 45, because Greenville right up to I-20. He said, I told you we was connected. That's why you got to listen to me. But now come on. We've reduced a lot of our ministry to entertainment. Or who can hoop the loudest? Who could run around the pulpit more? Or who got the dresses fancy and don't deal with the ministry? Jesus healed more people than he preached to. Because there is in the healing your message. They followed Jesus because he healed a woman with the issue of blood. They followed Jesus because Jesus saw a blind man named Bartimaeus. A lot of us would have dismissed him because he was a broke, poor, homeless, a blind man. Now you know he was broke, Reverend, because they say he was begging. But he understood what he was doing because he heard that Jesus was passing by. And when Jesus got close enough, he said, Jesus, son of David, come see about me. They kept telling Jesus, let's go, we got a schedule, we got people to see. He said it again, Jesus, son of David, come see about me. And when he did it the third time, Jesus stopped and went and healed the blind man. Now, what I get out of that scripture, Bishop Norton, is that blind. Reverend Al Sharpton, let me bring in our national Chief of Operations, COO of National Action Network, pastor of the historic Mother AME Zion Church in Harlem, Reverend Dr. Malcolm Bird. Reverend Bird, wearing both hats, being COO here at National Action Network and pastoring in Harlem, a historic church. And your church, when I say historic, I'm not saying that just giving undue credit, but you had everybody from Frederick Douglass preached at your church to Paul Robeson was an active member of your church, on and on and on. How is this shutdown affecting average people that are members of the network? I'm talking about members around the country that you deal with, and parishioners in your church.
First of all, Reverend, thank you for allowing me to be on your program. I always love coming on, sharing with you, and chatting with you. The conversation on the ground is multifaceted. Number one, there isn't an American on or listening or in this country who isn't affected by the potential of losing health care. You talk about the potential of losing SNAP benefits and losing essential funding that go to support individuals at the very baseline of our existence. Juxtaposed to what we saw the other day when you had military leaders gathered in Quantico, Virginia, a multi-million-dollar effort to show military might with generals and leaders of the military listening to Hedgepeth and listening to Donald Trump. It looked like a disgruntled deacons meeting about to vote the preacher out. But what this really means to average Americans is that while we're playing politics, someone is suffering. And everyone knows that, particularly in this country, when the country is teetering on financial ruin and financial decay, the people who are most affected by it are Black Americans who are in many respects still trying to make a dollar out of 15 cents. Individuals who still have not gotten their just due, still have not gotten the open door opportunity that their brilliance and their integrity should demand for them. So on the ground, Reverend Sharpton, I can say to you wholeheartedly that you have individuals of every age group, from seniors down to elementary age, are very much affected and are going to be more affected if we don't do something very quickly in Washington and approve a budget, not just a budget for the rich, but a budget that meets the needs of all Americans.
Sophia Marshall's writing on the message board, as John Hope Bryant coined the term civil rights. We must continue to fight for our economic empowerment of our people. Thank you, Reverend Al. Continue the great work that you're doing. Well, let me just say this. John Hope Bryant's doing a great work. I admire and respect him. We talk often. In fact, I'll be in Atlanta with he and Andrew Young and Rachel Maddow in a couple of weeks. But the person that coined the phrase civil rights was Jesse Jackson. That's where John Hope Bryant got it from. And it's interesting she wrote that because over the break, I just talked with Reverend Jackson. He's, having a problem with his speech with the Parkinson's and can't walk. But one of his kids put the phone to his ear and let me talk to him. Every week or so, I like to just let him know he's on my mind. I talk about him all the time. As long as I'm alive, I'm going to keep his name alive. And so it's interesting that you brought that up so I could remind people that John Hope and I got a lot of stuff from Jesse Jackson. Let's go to John in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. John, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton and the Reverend Malcolm Bird.
Good afternoon, Reverend Bird, and thank
Greetings.
you, Reverend Sharpton, for taking my call. One thing I wanted to say, you had mentioned about buying shares in companies.
Right.
And this is just an idea I'd like you to consider. If the chapters, now I'm in Milwaukee, I don't think there's a NAN chapter here.
We're
but
starting
I
one.
am a
Some
member.
people have reached out, but go ahead.
Okay, I've been a member of your organization since I think 2009. I've been, paying my $25 a year dues online. And I think that if the different chapters form their own investment club and bought shares that way, it would be more powerful. Now, I'm not sitting where you are, and I don't have a broader view over all the over all the chapters, but it's just an idea that each chapter could buy into shares or maybe buy into different shares instead of, from a national perspective, buying into just one share.
No,
So
I
that's just my
think you peeped our whole card. We're definitely going to do it by local areas, local pockets. It's not going to be national or buying and then we just hold it national. You want it in different pockets, different places, because
Right.
and you want to deal with more than one company. So when we roll it out mid to late October, because that's when they start these meetings, I will have the details. But you are right where we need to go. You are absolutely right.
Yeah, well, thank you, Rev. I just thought I'd drop that on you. And another thing I wanted to say is that speech Trump gave yesterday. When he came in, I saw the opening where he sat there with all of those black military leaders, intelligent leaders, and basically told them that they weren't qualified to do their job because of DEI, their DEI hires. Told them to their face. I mean, how insensitive and how irrational and just basically how crazy can you be? And then he said there's only two N words, the nuclear word and the N word. Reverend Al, he's getting close to getting in front of a microphone and calling us niggers. He's getting very close.
Well, let me tell you, I hate to say it, but I watched part of the speech because I host a TV show and a radio show. And you're exactly right. This man got up there and said, and that's where I had to go off. I couldn't watch the rest. He literally said that we must go back to merit, that the country has been going through DEI, and you've been chosen by your race and gender. We must go back to merit. Said it with those black generals sitting there like they did not earn or did not have merit to be what they are. Said in their face. I mean, there's nothing more insulting than that. And since when? What do you mean go back to merit? When did they use merit? It wasn't merit that made them ahead of blacks. It was slavery. And then 100 years of Jim Crow laws after slavery. It wasn't no merit. If you got, if you born and your daddy's a slave and he owns 40 slaves, you didn't earn merit as an entrepreneur to make a lot of money in cotton. You had 40 free laborers. Anybody can take free labor and get rich. So I mean, but the suggestion is telling young whites misinformation, like these people are really inferior. They use race as a requirement to get ahead because they don't have the merit to get ahead on their own, and that is not true.
They control the merit.
Right.
They control what is merit and what is not. And, we have no say-so in the merit. So he's basically saying, and he told them he's going to fix that. Basically, I'm going to weed all of you out of here. And once I do, you'll never get back into these positions again, basically as long as I'm around.
That's basically what he said.
He just told them that. Now, this man, he has no military experience, no military background. He's a draft dodger. Those men and women went to universities, studied all the things they needed to do to get there, actually performed what they studied, executed it in the field. This man has done absolutely nothing in the field, the military field, and he's going to tell them that they're unintelligent, that the only way they got their job was through DEI. Reverend Al, if Black America don't wake up and hit these polls next year, I mean, we're basically going to self-destruct if we don't.
We get what we deserve. We do it by our own irresponsibility.
Our own hand.
That's right.
Our own hand. And we're technically we're volunteering for slavery, for technical slavery.
Absolutely.
Which is what they want. And it's just frustrating that so many black people right now that need to be listening to you aren't listening to you. They're listening to their hip hop. They're watching their judge shows on TV.
No,
I mean, it's
well,
just
you're
madness,
right, but we've
man.
got to talk to those that will and keep building. Thank you for your call. Tanya Stovall is saying, I went to see James Brown at the Apollo Theater when Reverend Sharpton brought his body for us to see after his death. Truly powerful. He drove that whole night to get his body there. Yeah, that's true. When James Brown died, the family called me. I went down. We planned the funerals, and they asked me what did I think we should do. I said the first thing we need to do is bring him to the Apollo. Let him lay at state there. He put the Apollo on the map. It's the temple of black music, and they agreed. And when we got ready to go, I'll never forget this. The mortician, Mr. Reed, in Augusta, Georgia, called me and said, Reverend Al, called me in the middle of the night. He said, I don't want to wake up the family. He says, but we just found out that the casket, because the family had a gold-plated casket, weighs too much for Mr. Brown's plane. We got to go on a commercial plane. And the last flight that we could get him out of is out of Atlanta, which is 2 hours away. That the plane is big enough to take him. So he said, we're just going to drive him up. So I showed up at the funeral home. He said, oh, you can't see us off? I said, no, I'm going to ride with you. And I rode with the body all night to get it to the Apollo. I wanted to ride with James Brown. And I just rode in the back seat with my hand on his casket. That's how close we were. So you Tanya, you got that right. And I think, we let him lay in state about 8 hours, we said. It ended up about 10. And Reverend Dr. Richardson said he only seen me leave to go to the bathroom one time. I just stood there. I felt I couldn't let him go because that's how much of an impact he had on me personally. Let's take a break. Be right back. Keeping it real. Sharpton Bird. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. Sharpton, keeping it real. Be right back.
Joining James Brown, Muhammad Ali, and myself now from New York City is the Reverend Al Sharpton. And Mr. Brown, James, I'd like to ask you about this young man, how you came to meet him, and what the National Youth Movement, which he represents, is all about. Tell me something about that.
Teaching young kids the right way to go, and the things to be involved in education. Don't be a dropout, which is one thing I'm very much behind. Unless kids have guidance, they have no place to go. And the idea is to try to mold them. I mean, we think of anything, we think of it as a baby. And what we mold them to be is what it will be later on. He used to stand at my back door, and he believed in what I said, the Don't Be a Dropout program, and the fact of helping kids and giving them the right idol and the right image to go with, cleaning, grooming, and wanting to work, wanting to be something. I started as a kid, a juvenile delinquent, and everything. Had no model. And I was able to be a model for a young man like this. And what he turned out to be is a minister, and he preaches the right thing, and I'm for him 1,000%. I'm for everything he's about.
Mr. Sharpton, how national right now is the National Youth Movement? Is it something new? Has it been going on for a while? Do you have a stated number of members? Tell me something about it.
Well, we don't really get into a numbers game because that's been a trick that has been played for the last 20 years. What we're basically interested in doing is saying to young people of impoverished backgrounds that there are people like a Muhammad Ali and a James Brown that represents hope to us. Because these people, despite all of the social odds, despite the unemployment statistics, despite the lack of education in their day, were able to grow and be something that we can be proud of. A man like me didn't have a father at home, but I had a James Brown to look up to and would want to sing and dance like him, or Muhammad Ali, who I saw stand up and give away millions of dollars of stamps to the government so that I would have a right to come 10 or 20 years later and try to fight for my kids. So what we're saying is there are symbols and images that kids can look up to and not have to throw a brick through a window, but that can work by the sweat of their brow and succeed just like these two gentlemen did.
But considering the numbers of young kids today, and Rev, there are hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands of kids who really are in hopeless and desperate situations, is it enough to just offer them an example?
You say hopeless, though. Not hopeless.
Well, let's say, to them, 10, 11, 12-year-old kids,
it's never hopeless. There's no such thing as hopeless. It's never hopeless. When I got 8 to 16 years for breaking and entering as a kid, because I was hungry, and here I am today, it's not hopeless. Don't say hopeless. Then we say we're carving out. I don't believe in hopeless. Don't you think it's hope? If you believe in something, try. No such hopeless. I don't believe in hopeless. We're not going to go with that. And I think he's not about teaching them how to get out and fight for themselves. That's what it's about. No, it's not hopeless. Everybody has a cause and everything, but everybody want to live. And I think living is what we're about. We're not going to teach dying. Hopeless is dying.
Okay, I agree with you 100%, James. But what I'm trying to ask here is simply saying you too can be a James Brown or a Muhammad Ali. Is that enough to give a kid who's hungry, who doesn't know where his next meal is coming?
I'll say that.
Give him somewhere to go.
I think it's awful weak to tell a kid you can be a James Brown, one of the greatest entertainers in the world, and me, one of the greatest fighters. And like you said, the hundreds of thousands of millions of kids that need a break. You can't have that many great people, but they can get educated. They can go to school. They can learn. I'd like to say one thing. We have crime today. It's a big problem. I think they took a national vote on what the people want the government to spend most of the money on, and crime was over national defense. Worrying about Russia, China, outside enemies, they're worrying about inside crime. We have crime today, all type prostitution, murder, exploitation, degradation, and wars of all kinds. And I'm going to tell you why everything's happening. And I think if you're intelligent, you agree with it. If we were riding an airplane and the two pilots died for some reason, is there anybody in this room that can go in the cockpit, pick up the radio, start working it, bring the plane in, depressurize it as it land, and make it and late at night on a stormy day? You couldn't do it.
Right.
Well, but if you learn how to fly, or if they show you how to fly, you can. Since God made the world and God made us, He sent the Bible, the Torah, the Quran, sent Moses, Jesus, Noah, to show us how to run the world. And God left His laws. If we don't follow His laws, then we crash.
Let me say this, though, Mr. Snyder, in response to your question to Mr. Brown, Mr. Ali. Yes, it is enough to begin with showing them an example, because before you get to education, you need motivation. If you don't have motivation to get out of the bed, you won't make school or the party. And what we try to do by showing a James Brown or Muhammad Ali is not that you can be a great champion maybe like Ali or a great entertainer like James Brown, but if you use the same initiative that they did to make him get up 5 in the morning and run 10 miles and just have a dream and to come back 3 times and accomplish that dream, to have more hits than anybody in the world, even when the music world wouldn't give him credit for it in terms of a James Brown. If you had that initiative to keep working at whatever it is that you're going to do, you can succeed. And what we're saying to them is you may not reach the plateau of public prominence of them, but if you can reach the personal discipline and personal motivation of them, you can reach a plateau in your life. Because it's not about looking for a government handout, it's about looking for a way out, as James Brown said.
All right, and then how receptive are the young people that you tell this to?
Very receptive.
Really?
Very receptive. Very receptive. I think that people have misunderstood that most people of impoverished and depressed areas are not looking for the government to give them something. They just want a chance. I remember when I was a little boy, James Brown used to sing, I don't want nobody to give me nothing, just open the door, I'll get it myself. Well, that's all people want now is a chance. Let me get a piece of the action. Let me get a piece of the pie. Let me stand up on my own.
All right. At one
man should have the major corporations, the government, should get behind him and push the programs that he's about.
Except maybe if he does it himself and gets grassroots support, it's better than having the government stick their nose in, because they have a way sometimes.
We're not talking about control.
Yeah.
We're not talking about control. We're talking about a way of start. You know, they have to start. If they fund Chrysler and fund all the different other things, they can fund a small man to get started. Then the private sector will join in. But let them help too. It should be.
Last thing. Somewhere along the line here tonight, we used a graphic saying long, hot summer. Are you in any way, I'm certain you're not predicting a long, hot summer. You're not predicting urban strife. You're not predicting disorder, anything like that.
Well, what I'm saying is, you know, at home you have an oven. There are flames on top of the oven, and then there's heat in the oven. We always discuss whether there'll be a flame on the top, and don't discuss it. There's already 600 degrees inside. I'm not concerned as much about a long, hot summer because it's been a long, hot winter. Yeah. People are unemployed.
Okay.
People are unemployed. People are getting their homes ripped off. Parents' pocketbooks being snatched. As Ali said, crime is at a highest rate it's ever been. So rather than us running around the streets looking for a brick, we should be looking at the fact the brick is already in most people's houses. How do we get the brick out of the house? How do we cool the long oven out? Let's not wait for the explosion and then just cut the flames off upstairs. Let's put the flame out inside. And the only way to do that is everybody to get up and work by the sweat of their brow in America and try to produce, be productive like these two gentlemen have been in their life against all odds. They came up in a world that was alien to them, and they made it. And we can make it if we have the same initiative they did.
Mr. Sharpton, it's been a pleasure to have you here tonight, and I've enjoyed meeting you very much.
Thank
Thank
you
you for
very
coming
much.
by, and thank you, James Brown, for being with us again. Kent, thank you for being here tonight.
You live. Keeping it real, keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, Reverend Dr. Malcolm. Reverend Dr. Malcolm Bird is our guest host with me this hour. Let's go to Al in Rochester, New York. Al, you're keeping it real with Sharpton and Bird.
Good day, Rev.
Good day.
I just wanted to make a quick statement, and I needed your opinion. In terms of Donald Trump, in my opinion, the worst is yet to come. He had all the top brass at a meeting telling them, if you don't like what I got to say, just quit. This military regime he's trying to put together. If Trump loses the election by 1 million votes, he's not going to just hand the keys over to that White House. I hope the Democrats have a plan B, learned a lesson from 2020. In my opinion, he's going to have to be removed by force. And I'd like to know what you have to say on that subject.
Well, I'll tell you what I have to say. Thank you for your call. One, he can't lose by 1 million votes because he can't run again. You can only run twice, and it's his second term. So if he ran, it would be constitutionally taking him off the ballot unless the Supreme Court changes the Constitution. And then you need 2/3 of the Congress, and I believe a referendum of a certain amount of states. And I don't see that happening. Even if he stacked the Supreme Court, I don't see him getting 2/3 of the Congress and getting ratified with the states. So I don't think that's going to happen. Now, do I think he would try something to make it happen? Absolutely. I wouldn't put anything past Donald Trump. But I think that there's going to be a point where the system kicks in because people are going to say, we're not going that far, not even for you. And you're beginning to see it. When you see white farmers in Iowa talking about how they are now regretting they voted for Trump because the soybean industry, I read this on the air yesterday, soybean industry that they survive on is collapsed because of his tariffs. A lot of their workers in the field are gone because of ICE, and they've either been arrested or scared to come out. These things are going to cause a backlash even among his base. And I think that it's just a matter of time. And I think you're right, Al, to have brought up about the military, because there's no way anybody in their right, mature mind could sit there and be berated by Trump that if you don't go my way, you can lead the military. Some have put in 20, 30 years to get to the rank they got. And there's no way they could be talked to like that and not resent that. And at some point, all that's going to backfire. Let's go to the sage of the South, Jihad. Jihad, you're keeping it real with Sharpton and Bird.
Hey, how you doing, Reverend Allen?
I'm doing good, doing good.
Good, good. And you're 100% correct, Reverend Al. If it got to that point, we already got a problem.
Right, right.
Where he lose $5 million, it shouldn't even get there. But the language I would like to have that brother change is that he said, I hope the Democrats got a plan. No, you hope the citizens got a plan.
Right.
See, this particular situation has to be corrected by citizenship. You know what I mean? Not the Democrats. You know what I mean? The citizens of America, both Democrats and Republicans and independents and nobody, all of them have to come to a high percentage of them has to say this is enough. That's what the Constitution says. It says that it's the citizens' right to do a certain thing when things got out of order. You know what I mean? And it doesn't have to be a physical overthrow, but it has to be the energy of the people to say this is enough. I mean, how much is enough when a guy tells you that the military, to my knowledge, the United States military, according to Hegseth or whatever his name is, he's released them to kill without obeying what's the international law that governs how you
Geneva Convention.
Geneva Convention.
Geneva Convention.
Yeah.
He in essence said yesterday that we're not going to obey none of these. What do he call it? He called it a different name, but he said we're not going to obey those laws. We're going to break things, and we're going to do what we got to do, regardless of what people say. And then he follows it. Then his man follows it up by saying he's going to release those people who are going to not follow international law anymore on the citizenship of the American citizen in the different cities with the army. I mean, what else does a man have to say for the populace to get excited? For the populace, we're sitting here waiting, like Brother said, on the Democrats or somebody else to solve this problem. Now the citizens, just like those people in Ohio, I mean, in Iowa that you talked about, the soybean people, they're going to speak up, and they're going to stand up. And then the citizens have to hit the streets, and they'll shut the country down themselves. You know, because oligarchs want to make money. They still want to make money, Reverend Al.
Oh, no
All
doubt
these
about
major
it.
corporations still want to make money.
No doubt
so
about
if the citizenship get excited and do what we're supposed to do, this thing will come to an end. And not only that, let me end with this, Reverend Al. His son is making millions of dollars. Billions of dollars. He's making more money now than he made with a golf course or a hotel. He couldn't imagine the money that he's making. So my understanding, the son-in-law is one of the minority owners of TikTok. This new group that they put together for TikTok.
Yeah, Jared
He couldn't
Kushner.
wish for a better situation. Jared Kushner. You know what I mean? So the man is just making money over here, and we have to point that out to the citizenship. While we're going to be suffering during this shutdown, they're going to be eating steak and lobster and having a ball and smiling like Hegseth was smiling. You know what I mean? So we, the citizenship, you know what I mean? Not the black leaders, not the white leaders. The average American citizen has to say this is enough and hit the street, and I think we'll see this thing switch and change and gain the momentum necessary to check this president and his staff or his group of people. What do you call it? Minions? The minions.
Yeah, his minions.
That are
Yeah,
following.
yeah.
Yeah, his minions. You know what I mean, and that's what I believe we have to do, Reverend Al.
All right.
This guy Fetterman.
Yeah.
I wish you would talk about him a little bit, because the reality of it is how are you going to believe somebody that say they're going to negotiate with you later on if you just agree to do what they want to do when he ain't showed no history of negotiating in fairness or even following through on what he say?
Well, not
I don't
only has
understand the
not
government's position. Yeah.
not only has not shown any history of negotiating, before they can get off the White House grounds, put out a racist mimicry of them AI inspired. How you going to negotiate with somebody that's got you up there with a Mexican hat and a mustache and got the distorted voice of Schumer? He's telling you right there, I'm not trying to do anything with you guys. But thank you for your call. You know, Reverend Bird.
Thank you very much, Reverend.
Let me take the break. I'll come back to Reverend Bird right after the break. Keeping it real. Sharpton, Bird. Be right back. I would argue that DEI is a result of those that by law and later by enforcement would not deal with diversity, would not deal with including people of color, gender, sexual orientation, as well as disabled. And the conscious effort by government and the private sector to begin to equalize the opportunities of this country was something that makes it more humane and fair for all of us. To DEI, diversify, is not based on the lack of merit. We could not show our merit because we were extremely pompous conservatives that talk about we want a society based on merit. Well, then, if it's based on merit, then why did you discriminate based on race and gender until they cut off much of the population and then had merit between white males? That was what they meant, not merit. Let's have real merit, but let's also make up the ground that those of us with merit was not able to compete.
Tony Wafer, Los Angeles chapter, NASDAQ Network. He just came here to New York a couple days ago, had to stop by the House of Justice, and I sure enough found some justice, so I know I can leave here feeling like I got peace.
So it's become almost an unhealthy habit how much I'm listening to Keep It Real, because it is the realest thing on the air anywhere, whether it be online or whether it be on the radio or wherever it's coming into you from, because there's no one of Rev's importance and caliber who is as dominant a media figure as he is, who allows people to speak at length, and who he treats with equal respect and admiration with every call, whether he agrees with you or not. And I'm not gonna throw shade at anybody, but there are a lot of people with big platforms like the Rev has who are afraid to talk to the people and who are afraid that the people will keep it real with them. And he never shies away from anything any of us want to talk to him about. And he doesn't shut you up. It's not a soundbite, it's a conversation. So I would like people in media to learn from this man who is carrying MLK's torch. Don't be afraid of people. Listen to them, respect them, and stand in God and stand in truth. Thank you, Nan. Thank you, Rev. Thank you, everybody who puts this together and sends it out across the world, because we need much more of it. Bless you.
Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. Let's go back to the phone. Attorney Jennifer Jones Austin is. You know, every day, Monday through Friday, I do 3 hours a day on Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton. I do 1 hour on Sunday mornings with Reverend Al Sharpton. And I'm live on radio and TV with the Saturday Action Rally. 7 days a week, I talk to our people, hear from them, to call in. I'm sick and tired of people talking for people that they don't talk to. So go on www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Listen to my show, call in, express your opinion. You don't have to agree with me. But let's start talking to each other rather than about each other and lecturing at each other. Let's keep it real with Sharpton. Do I seem excited? I am excited because this Saturday, the National Action Network Saturday Action Rally starts live on WBLS 107.5 FM in New York. We're going to expand. Every Saturday morning, we're live on WBLS 107.5 from 10 a.m. to 11. You'll hear the message. You'll feel the energy. You'll be involved. You won't be sitting around talking about, oh my God, look at what's happening. You'll be involved in dealing with what's happening. I'm excited, and you should be excited too. Turn on WBLS 10 a.m. every Saturday morning. I have a message for you. And if you want to, you can come to the House of Justice and be there live. 145th Street and Lenox Avenue. We kick off at 9, and we don't stop until we deal with getting our people energized. Keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. And go to the message page on our message board at live stream at National Action Network. Let me say again, by way of announcements, don't forget and remind all your relatives and friends to watch Politics Nation with Al Sharpton live at 5 p.m. Eastern Time on MSNBC, Saturday and Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. And I'm loading the deck now with the people right in the middle of this shutdown, with the people right in the middle of these military officers heading in, that's already in some of the large cities, and dealing with some of our major thought leaders, all of whom will be on the show Saturday and Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern. Then on Saturday morning, you that are in the New York, New Jersey, Connecticut area, meet me or beat me to the Saturday Action Rally at the House of Justice, 145th Street and Lenox Avenue in the village of Harlem. And, of course, you that are not in the New York area, you can watch it live on Impact Television, or you can watch it on nationalactionnetwork.net live stream. And Monday coming, October the 6th, is the Triumph Awards of the National Action Network. Every year we do our cultural awards, Triumph Awards. We honor people that have impacted the culture in a way that we think deserves notice. This year we're honoring Babyface, Kenneth Babyface Edmonds, the one and only Stephanie Mills, and then Ari Melba, the host of The Beat on MSNBC, one of the good shows there that a lot of young people watch. And Chesley Maddox Dorsey, who keeps urban radio alive in black hands, and the gospel great Vincent Bohannon. The tickets are free. We are about at capacity, but you can call or you can go online and put your name on the list. If people cancel, sometimes people say, I couldn't get my plane, or something came up at home, and we can fill you right in. So sign up. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net or call the toll-free number 1-877-626-4651. Reverend Bird, the Saturday Action Rally, people hear me talking about it, and some young people don't understand that is a continued tradition in our side of the movement. When in 1966, and I was like 11 years old, way before I knew a lot of movement stuff, I think they started the Saturday, I know they started Saturday rallies. I was taught this when I joined at 12 in New York. They started at the Chicago Theological Seminary. Reverend Jesse Jackson was a staff member to Dr. King for the last year of his life. And then it grew into Saturday morning breadbasket rallies in Chicago, and then later Operation Push. And it's then Brooklyn, New York. Reverend William Jones duplicated what Reverend Jackson had started and went on, I believe, in L.A. So in 1991, when I'm full grown, 37 years old, had done the youth movement and done other things, I brought back the Saturday rally in New York that had stopped, and that's what we're doing. We've been doing it now for 34 years.
34 years.
And every Saturday morning, and live on Black-oriented radio and Black-owned television. Talk about the uniqueness of that.
I'll say, Reverend Sharpton, without a doubt, the Saturday Action rallies sponsored by the National Action Network with you as the speaker, I say to people all the time, this is Black America's charging station every Saturday. For those who are interested in matters of civil rights, the issues that affect our people at every possible level. If you want to know what's happening in Black America, if you want to know where the action truly is, you've got to be present at the Saturday Action Rally. In every sense of the word, it's one of those bequeathments from the King movement. Because if you go back during that Montgomery bus boycott, they were gathering every night during that year in some church in Montgomery, and there was a reason why Dr. King and others felt the importance of gathering the people. You got to get the people in the room who've been beat down all day. You got to give them some revival songs. You've got to give them some words of inspiration, and you have to give them the roadmap where we're going next. And that's what happens at the NAN Saturday Rally every Saturday. It's not just a get-together for people who don't have anything to do. It's a get-together for people who are committed to truth, liberation, and justice, who have been beat down all week, who understand the type of culture we're living in right now politically, but also people who want to hear the words from the most preeminent civil rights leader in America to help us understand where to go next. And so I'll say to anybody who is listening, if you are listening and you're not quite sure what's happening, tune in to the Saturday Action Rally or be present at the Saturday Action Rally in Harlem every week. I'm there, and I can promise you it's life-changing and will give you perspective on what we are experiencing each and every day.
Now, and part of it also is the connection that people commune together. One of the reasons that Reverend Jackson started it on Saturdays is a lot of the breadbasket movement at that time when I was a kid and on to when we started NAN were ministers that were involved. And with rather than have Sunday rallies competing with their churches, all of them could support the Saturday rally because we weren't competing with them. So there was an organizing technique to watch Saturday and then do it live on the air so people that couldn't come to the rally could listen on the radio, but then they'd want to come because a lot of the rally doesn't make the air. Explain also, you've been around us several years now, the uniqueness of the Triumph Awards.
The Triumph Awards, I like to say, is probably the preeminent cultural award that's given by a civil rights organization in America. The Triumph Awards is an opportunity to bring together individuals from both near and far. It's been held at Carnegie Hall before. We've been at Jazz at Lincoln Center for several years now. And it's an opportunity to bring in the best and the brightest talent in Black America. It's an opportunity for us to acknowledge those who've blazed paths and trails in the arts, whether it's music, whether it's the visual arts. It's also an opportunity to honor those who have honored us by bearing their burdens in the heat of the day, lifting up the cause of the marginalized. And it's the room you don't want to miss if you're anywhere in New York City during the Triumph Awards. It's always at a capacity crowd. There's always persons on the waiting list. And I can assure you, the persons who the National Action Network have honored in past years were literally floored that the National Action Network would honor them for their work. And why not? They have blazed wonderful trails. They wouldn't be honored if you and the leaders did not feel that way. So the Triumph Awards is significant. These are individuals who have triumphed above all of the marginalization and have still been successful.
That's what the Triumph means.
Yep.
And like last year, we honored Gladys Knight, and she was there. And we honored Wynton Marsalis, one of the greatest jazz musicians of all time, who was there. And Robert De Niro, the actor. That was just last year. I mean, if I go back, you can think of everybody. And it's free.
Yep.
One of the things that we try to do both with our convention and with our award show is have it free to get enough sponsors, people that market their stuff in our community, black and white, to sponsor so the people can come. A lot of our people from out of town is hard enough for people to afford an airplane and a hotel, or people right in the tri-state area, and then you got to pay some kind of fee to get in the door. So I try to always raise enough from sponsors saying, I'm not making no deal with y'all. Y'all be able to expose your product. I'll give you acknowledgement, but I want people to be able to come in for nothing. So we don't charge registration for our convention. We don't charge registration for the Triumph Awards. Now, we will charge you for the banquet at the dinner because that's beyond our being able to raise the money. But other than that, it's all about having the people there. I cannot, in my mind, fathom how you can speak for people that you don't listen to and you don't provide for them to be able to hear you and for you to hear them and exchange them for them. I keep saying we have too many people that lead people that they don't even like. And that's why, and you're going to get your reaction and all, and you're going to get your negative callers on radio, and that's fine. If nobody was against you, you ain't stand up for nothing. You're going to get your trollers on social media, and they tell themselves, they tell you more about who they are than they tell you about who you are. So let them troll. The fact that they pay you some attention must mean you are effective. Well, let me thank you, Reverend Malcolm Byrd. Let me thank all of you that called in. listening, you that called in and couldn't get through but hung in there anyhow. Remember, whatever you do, wherever you go, however you feel, tell somebody, tell anybody, tell everybody. Reverend Al told you personally, keep it real. Keep it real. Keep it real.